security prison to a minimum security prison is a huge culture shock. You're going from being locked down in a cell for almost 23 hours a day to being in an open dorm with like 100 other dudes around you at all times. A lot of people see that as having more freedom, but really to me, it just meant that I had a lot less privacy. Meals were different too. Like the first minimum that I went to, they asked you if you wanted seconds. Seconds? What are you talking? You never got that at Max. But the main glaring differences to me personally was the people, man. And not just the inmates, the COs as well. The COs seemed to think that you owed them something because you were now in a minimum security prison, and they felt like they had a carrot to dangle over you. Oh, we'll send you back to Max if you don't like it. I liked Max more anyway. But you did have a lot of inmates who liked it at minimum way more, so they actually were scared and motivated by that. And the inmates there were louder, less respectful, not convicts. They talked to cops way too much. All in all, 0 out of 10, it just wasn't my scene. Being moved from a maximum security prison to a minimum security prison is a huge culture shock. You're going from being...
Okay, so like he admits some of what I put in my videos before, like, yeah, rapos do talk to cops too much. Like, but he absolutely lied about there being seconds at minimum. There's no minimums that allow you to have seconds. No mediums, not a maximum. Nowhere will you be offered seconds. There's federal calorie intake. What's the word? I can't think of the word I'm looking for, but it's like guidelines for calories that inmates are supposed to intake that are federal and state guidelines. And that's why you only get a certain amount of food on your tray. And like when I was at Deer Ridge, like the new guy that came in, before that, the old administrator came in when you had like, I never had the money for this, but like you can go to special inmate lunches called incentive meals and get like Chinese food or pizza from the street. And like the guard wouldn't do that because there was a Mexican restaurant in town. They would frequently buy lots of burritos and tacos from it and stuff. And those would be incentive meals for the inmates, but they wouldn't do that any longer. He said no, because there's new calorie guidelines. So you can only get food, like special food made in prison with our own food. You couldn't go to an outside, they couldn't go to an outside restaurant and get food from them. But like the way it works, if you want seconds in prison, like there's 2 lines in prison and there's 2 doors going like at OSCI from the dorms to prison. And you walk through both of them and there's 2 lines. One on one side is where, when I was there was no number system. When I left and went to Deer Ridge, I met somebody that told me there was a number system. They had just gotten to Deer Ridge. But one line is basically nothing but whites and a few natives. And the other line is nothing but Southsiders, Paisas, and blacks and Asians. Because one side of the chow hall is segregated for them, and the other side of the chow hall is segregated for the other ones. The natives get and the Asians get the very back end of the chow hall. But if you want seconds, you have to leave your tray at your table. You have to risk going by one CO who friggin' is watching the chow line, another CO behind inmate workers feeding you your food, and like if either of those catch you trying to get seconds, you're going directly to the friggin' hole. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You will go to the hole. If you try and grab like bread or something out of the tray to get extra, you're definitely going to the hole. And then you're just going to piss off the inmate workers who are going to not want to feed you better portions next time. Because inmates, they can, like, when it comes to fried chicken, yes, there's fried chicken in Oregon prison. That's how good the Oregon prison food is. They call it Southern fried chicken. But, like they have smaller pieces of fried chicken and bigger pieces. And, like, depending on what your charges are is the kind of piece of chicken the inmate's going to feed you. Like, but if you want extras, you got to go through that line and brave those guards. And then you can't take both trays back. You can only take one, because when you go to the slot to put your tray in for the inmates to clean it, there's a guard standing there. There's a guard on each side at 4 different points in the chow hall, and there's 2 at each door leaving the chow hall so they can search you if they think you're trying to sneak something out of the chow hall. Now, you can't have up to 1 piece of fruit from your tray in your cell at all times. You can't have more than that, and don't be like the dude at D Ridge who was sitting right next to the cop shop and decided, I'm going to make Pruno, and had like 6 cut in half oranges fermenting right next to his bunk, aerating that carbonated, yeasty smell of fermenting oranges for the cop to go, you're making Pruno, you're going to the hole. So, yeah, anyways, he lied about that. Like, he didn't lie about, like, the way the prisons are set up and stuff, but, like, he said in other, like, episodes of his that, like, rapos, like, are extorted in minimum, and they are absolutely not, because those rapos will run straight to the guard and tell on you, or the guy next to you might tell on you if he thinks he's going to get sent back to medium. And, like, it's not that inmates are afraid to go back to medium. None of them are, not even the rapos, because they know that they won't get touched. Only the rats are the really ones that don't want to go back to medium, because they can get away with ratting on people in minimum. Like, nobody will do anything. Like, rapos rat all the time in minimum, and nobody does a goddamn thing to them or about them. So JD needs to clarify on what he's talking about and not lie so much, and not embellish either, because, like, there's been several statements he made that were absolute fabrications and embellishments of what truly goes down in Oregon prison and what he's done. Anyways, bye.